here with Dynamic Specialties Group, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the idea of crawl, walk, run. Now, that idea stands to logic when we refer to children, right? I mean, we're not going to ask a toddler to go run a marathon before they learn how to walk. Obviously, they have to crawl, then they have to learn to walk, and then maybe sometime in their 20s or 30s, they'll think about running a marathon and do a decent job at it. Now, when we think about young drivers, right? This makes sense as well. We don't go out and buy them a Porsche. We go ahead and get a Honda Civic. Maybe it's got a little bit of rust on it, but it's definitely the right thing. It doesn't have a lot of features that they can't really afford, probably won't use, and isn't too dangerous. It probably won't hurt anybody with it, right? But these ideas that seem to make such natural, logical sense to us when applied to children seem to be lost when we talk about IT projects, and it's really not that much different. Most of us, when we're doing an IT project, are upgrading from whatever the tool it is that we're currently using into a new tool that's going to make our lives easier in the long run. But what we neglect to account for is the human factor in this, right? We're changing habits. So let's assume you've got a company that's 5 years old. It's been humming along. Your people know how to do their job, and they're doing it pretty darn good considering the tools they have at hand. They might be using Excel, they might be using some conglomeration of different tools to get the job done in the way that they need it done. And you being a good boss are like, hey, I can afford a new tool for them. Let's make life easier. And so you go out and you sign up to with a Salesforce consultancy to get your Salesforce org built for you, right? And you think, well, I'm going to have this high speed, the best tool out there for my employees, and they're going to be so efficient, they're going to be so happy. And you spend a large sum of money to get that tool in place, and then all of a sudden they don't use it, and you can't figure out why, right? It's been a year, you've been paying for this, you've worked so hard, and yet they're still sticking to their Excel sheets. And it's because the big complex system is scary. And when we're changing human habit, we've got to do it in small incremental steps. This is where the crawl, walk, run comes in. We can't ask our employees to jump right in and run marathons day one. What we need to do is ask them to go for a walk, get them a nice pair of shoes, get them used to walking around the block, and then maybe someday we can go to a jog, and then we'll jump into a run. And eventually, before you know it, a year or two from now, we're running marathons like nobody's business. But if I, as the Salesforce consultant, came in the door and said, hey, listen, I'm going to build you the biggest, baddest Salesforce org. We're going to get it done in 6 months, no problem. Here's your price tag, and you'll be good to go. You should be a little cautious on that because humans don't change habit that fast. And so, what we often recommend to our clients is truly embrace the crawl, walk, run approach by implementing Salesforce straight out of the box rather than doing a large deal of or a large amount of customization and trying to build this big beautiful complex tool. We recommend just bringing Salesforce into the org or into your organization and using it out of the box with its basic super powerful functionality. I mean, we can manage our leads process, our sales process, the opportunities, delivery, we can report on it, create dashboards. There's so much we can do with Salesforce as a base with its baseline functionality straight out of the box that we don't even need to customize. And then we can spend our time working with the customer's employees, doing one on one trainings, revisiting on a daily, weekly, monthly basis topics of concern, and getting to understand who they are. One, they're going to learn the Salesforce tool better from the basics. Two, we're going to get to learn them and understand how this tool that we brought into their process is going to work best for them rather than trying to change their process to match the tool, which is just silly, right? We want to enable and empower our employees, not necessarily like, hey, you got to do what I say. They know their job better than we do, anyways. And so the idea is let's bring Salesforce in as a baseline implementation, out of the box functionality. Learn how to use the tools that are there at your fingertips on day one. It's going to save you money right up front in your licensing and your implementation costs. It's going to save you time and rework in the end when you realize that the tool that you thought was great for the users who've never used the tool before really isn't. And your users are going to be happy and they're more likely to adopt if we take a slow incremental approach. And that's why agile methodology is really valuable when we're doing these implementations because of the iteration. But I'm sure that's a conversation for another time. So, next time you're considering your IT project and the consultant walks in and says, hey, crawl, walk, run, really listen and embrace the idea of first we need to learn how to crawl, then we can worry about walking, and eventually we can get to running marathons. And believe me, Salesforce, it's running marathons when you get to the stage that you know how to use it. So have faith, stick in there, learn the basics of the tool, and then you can grow into the complexities. And if we can be of assistance, we're always happy to jump in and help. We have our $75 as needed admin service. There's no obligation, no upfront fees. This is really intended to help take some of the workload off your shoulders and help us build trust with you. One, we get to learn your business. Two, you get to learn about us. And in the end, we can do some great things together. So give us a holler. We look forward to helping you out, and we'll talk to you next time. Thank you so much, and be